Welcome to the Movies Past and Present podcast. It's April 16th, 2021, and this is episode 68. I'm your host, Stanford Clark, and I'm podcasting from the crossroads of the West in beautiful Salt Lake City, Utah. Just on my blog, moviespastandpresent.com, I'll be providing recommendations, commentary, and reviews about current and classic cinema. Thanks for tuning in, and let's do this thing. New in theaters this week, well, actually, it was last week. Sorry, this movie opened up on April 9th. Is an action thriller called VOYAGERS. It's from Lionsgate. It's written and directed by Neil Berger. And the description goes something like this. With the future of the human race at stake, a group of young men and women bred for intelligence and obedience embark on an expedition to colonize a distant planet. But when they uncover disturbing secrets about the mission, they defy their training and begin to explore their most primitive natures. As life on the ship descends into chaos, they're consumed by fear, lust, and the insatiable hunger for power. This film stars Ty Sheridan, Lily Rose Depp, Fionn Whitehead, Shantae Adams, and Colin Farrell, among others. I think Colin Farrell is kind of like the sole adult, and the rest of these are all kind of young adult or in their early 20s. I thought this film looked pretty lousy. I saw the trailer, but that's, anyway, that's just me. But Voyagers is rated PG-13 by the Motion Picture Association for violence, some strong sexuality, bloody images, a sexual assault, and brief, strong language. Also coming to the theaters in the next few days, this is one to save the date for, is the next entry in Turner Classic Movies' Big Screen Classics series. They are re-releasing the biopic La Bamba. La Bamba was made in 1987, and it's the story of Mexican-American musician Richie Valens. Valens is played in the film by Lou Diamond Phillips, and I think this movie is really the one that launched his career, or one of his early films. But Richie Valens, whose real name was Ricardo Valenzuela, was from the migrant camps and fruit groves of California, from the San Joaquin Valley. And this movie documents his kind of meteoric rise from this farmland to the headlines of rock and roll at the time. Valens fused Latin sounds and rhythms with rock and roll, with songs like La Bamba, Come On Let's Go, Donna. Anyway, really, very influential music of the time. Still, fun to listen to, of course, today. But spoiler alert, this movie's got a sad ending, because Richie Valens' life was cut short. He was killed in 1959 in an airplane crash. And also in the same airplane crash, the singer Buddy Holly died. So anyway, sad deal, but interesting life. And as I recall, this was an interesting film. I think I saw it back in the day. And so I'm hoping I can get out to I can mask up and get out of the theater and check out La Bamba in theaters. Turner Classic Movies partners with Fathom Events. So you can go to fathomevents.com/TCM, click on La Bamba, and then put in your zip code, and it'll tell you all the movie theaters where it's playing. Usually, so this La Bamba is going to be playing on April 18th, 21st, and 22nd. And it kind of depends on the movie and the theater. Sometimes it just varies. So go check, because sometimes the movie plays twice a day. Sometimes it only plays once a day on the days that it's playing, again, on April 18th, 21st, and 22nd. I've got links to this in the podcast notes on my blog if you want more details about La Bamba, part of the TCM Big Screen Classics series. right, for reviews this week, I just wanted to give you a brief review of my experience with Godzilla vs. Kong, which is, the big monster movie from Warner Brothers that they've been leading up to with their, quote unquote MonsterVerse films. Um, the films leading up to the quote unquote MonsterVerse films were really uneven, to my taste. There was a Godzilla remake that was a while ago, and it was okay. Then there was Kong Skull Island. I don't know if you saw that movie. I thought that was pretty lousy. And then Godzilla King of the Monsters, which I thought was really lousy. So my expectations were really low. As I mentioned in the previous podcast, I was just planning on watching this on HBO Max. But one of my buddies invited me to go see this in the IMAX theater, the local IMAX theater. And I decided to go, mask up and go. And holy smokes, I'm so glad I did. I mean, this is not Citizen Kane, right? But this movie was so much fun. I think they just got it right. It's directed by Adam Wingard. And I think the things that I just smiled the whole time. Now, I do find, Godzilla movies for me are a real guilty pleasure. And I like the original King Kong in particular, but I just love those cheesy Godzilla movies so much, where he's walking around and Godzilla is just basically a dude in a rubber suit. This, though, of course, is all done with computer generated imagery, and but they aced it. So one of the complaints I guess it. I'll talk about the CGI first. The CGI in these previous films, I mean, it was okay, and I'm sure they spent a ton of money on it. But I was particularly frustrated with this last Godzilla movie, this Godzilla King of the Monsters. They just never really aced how they were animating this. And also it was set in all these clouds and fog, so you never could really get a good look at what was going on. And again, I know it's all fake, it's all animated, but in Godzilla vs. Kong, the fight scene, the fight animation, I mean, we could call it choreography, right? But it's really it's animation. They just nailed it. You always knew where the monsters were and what was happening. Total mayhem, total destruction. and I was just smiling the whole time. This movie also has a really cool, some extra cool sci-fi elements to it that I just wasn't expecting. And for me, it was a real guilty pleasure. And I just had an absolute blast at the movie theater. Now, one of the previous times I've been at the movie theater over COVID was to see the movie Tenet. And, I probably podcasted about it, but wow, that was just torture for me. Tenet had some interesting things about it, but I don't know what it was going on when I went to Tenet. I mean, part of it was probably, frankly, COVID. I was maybe feeling a little uneasy being in the theater. It was in the IMAX. The movie is, incredibly convoluted, by design. The sound design in Tenet, for me, was just absolutely terrible. And I absolutely hated the soundtrack, too. So I just left Tenet with a big headache, and I just wanted to take some Advil and call it a night. This movie, though, was complete opposite. So same IMAX theater, but pure fun. The crowd was really into it. There were people there in T-shirts. They were either Team Godzilla or Team Kong. And when different things were going on with these fight scenes, there was cheering happening. So the environment was, I think, a lot more fun. That was part of it. But also, it's just a fun movie. That I think just aces it within the genre. And I hope if you do like these type of movies, I mean, if you don't like them, you're probably not going to like this particular one. But if you do, I hope you'll give Godzilla vs. Kong a try, because it's a total blast. Well, the Academy Awards are happening soon. It's going to be Sunday, April 25th, on the ABC television network. And, the nominations have been out for a bit. And of course, I've got links. I'll have links to those on as well as a link to a PDF that you can download for your Oscar party. Your Zoom Oscar party, or whatever you're going to be doing this year. So anyway, I finally saw all the Best Picture nominations. So I just wanted to go over those again and just give you a brief rundown on my picks. I'm really not that great with Oscar picks, because again, you have to try to think like another person as far as trying to anticipate who's going to win. And in this case, trying to think like another group of people. I mean, there's some films clearly that are, front runners, and I think there are some front runners in this, in this set of nominations. But I'm just going to give you my opinion on it, and I'll wish you the best with your own individual Oscar picks, and we'll be anxious to hear how it goes for you. So, in alphabetical order, here are the Best Picture nominations: The Father, Judas and the Black Messiah, Mank, Minari, Nomadland, Promising Young Woman, Sound of Metal, and The Trial of the Chicago 7. So, again, as I've previously podcasted about, some of these I have already seen. Most recent, the two most recent films I've seen, which were I guess, I had 2.5 to watch last time I reported on this. So, Mank, which has been on Netflix for a few months, I watched half of it and was, I guess I hate to admit it, but I really wasn't very compelled by the film. Anyway, I finally forced myself to watch the second half of Mank, and then I saw Promising Young Woman, which I rented on Apple iTunes, and The Father, which I also rented on Apple iTunes. Supposedly The Father is still available to see in theaters. I couldn't find it in my market, so I just kind of had to bite the bullet and rent it, because I just wanted to make sure I saw it before the Academy Awards. All these films, and I've got information on the podcast notes on my blog, but most of them are available now on streaming service. Or also Cinemark is and I think other theater chains might be participating in this again. I guess it's we'll see, but are showing some of these, all of these Best Picture nominees in their theaters this up in anticipation of the Academy Awards. Again, I couldn't find all of the titles. One of the issues, really, just as a little side note, Cinemark theaters in my market in Salt Lake City, most of them are really only open on the weekends right now. They're open on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, which makes sense, just given the limited crowds, and they're trying to stay in business. And so that I wondered if that was affecting, why I couldn't find that The Father was going to be screening. It could have been user error on my part. But anyway, just as a quick rundown on all these films now that I've seen them. So The Father, it stars Anthony Hopkins and Olivia Colman. Anthony Hopkins is in real life he is elderly or older. In this case, he plays a man who's really going into severe dementia and or Alzheimer's, and Olivia Colman plays his daughter, and it's very interesting the way they've done this film, in that it mostly just kind of takes place in a flat in London, and you don't necessarily know whose perspective you're seeing. If you're seeing what's going on within Anthony Hopkins' mind, or what's going on within his daughter's mind, or perhaps some other people that are involved in the film. It's very well made, and I can understand why it got the Best Picture nomination. And frankly, I would be very surprised if. I think Anthony Hopkins is his performance is definitely Academy Award worthy. I think he's going to be up against Chadwick Boseman, who was in Ma Rainey's Black Bottom, which is a film that's playing on Netflix. Anyway, that was probably front runners. I digress. The Father was excellent, hard to watch, particularly if you've had a loved one that's had to go through that, as they age. But anyway, still, a very, very compelling and well-made film. Judas and the Black Messiah, which is one I previously talked about, but it's also an excellent film about the history of the Black Panthers, and I can see why it got nominated. I really enjoyed it. So Mank is next. Mank is about the writing of the film Citizen Kane, and Herman Mankiewicz was the screenwriter. And in this film, Mankiewicz or Mank is played by Gary Oldman, and it's in its own way a bit of an homage to Citizen Kane. I was told by a good friend that he heard it. I think it might have been the actress Amanda Seyfried, who plays a character in the film, recommended watching Citizen Kane before you watched Mank, and that it would increase your appreciation of both films. So Mank was directed by David Fincher, who's I think a very good director and a very stylish director. Filmed in black and white, with high definition cameras, and so the cinematography of it is really quite striking. I probably actually would have liked it more being able to see it on the big screen, versus just on my TV. Again, I thought it really, the cinematography really was impressive, and again, paid a lot of homage to Citizen Kane. Believe it or not, I just never really got compelled by the story, even though it's about a screenwriter. So maybe someday I'll have to try to watch it again. Maybe I can see it on the big screen or something and give it another shot. But of all of these films, Mank for me is at the bottom of the list. Not my favorite. Minari, on the other hand, was stunning, I thought. Minari, and then the next Nomadland. Those are probably my two favorites, and I think those are the two front runners for a Best Picture. I really loved both of those films. Promising Young Woman, which was the other one that I watched to kind of round up the list, was really rather stunning. I mean, it's a very grown up a film for grown ups. It's a tough subject matter. It's written and directed by Emerald Fennell, And I believe that this is Emerald's first, this is her directorial debut, too. But it stars Carey Mulligan as a young woman who was traumatized by the rape of her friend, one of her friends, and it wrecked her friend's life, and it ends up wrecking this woman's life too. And she was in medical school, and she dropped out. The Carey Mulligan character dropped out of medical school, and just starts working at a coffee shop, and seeks out vengeance against those who did some horrible stuff to her friend, and to the men specifically who did the stuff to her friend. And so it's a very timely piece with Me Too and a lot of the additional awareness and that's happening in our society today. And again, a hard film to watch, but I mean, for me, it was kind of breathtaking in how compelling it was, and how striking it was. And again, what happens is I won't give anything away, but it's definitely R-rated. But but if it's something that works for you, Promising Young Woman was really, really a very, very good film. And then I had already seen Sound of Metal and The Trial of the Chicago 7, both of which are very good. And The Trial of the Chicago 7 is written and directed by Aaron Sorkin, and very classic Aaron Sorkin. With the structure and with the dialogue and great performances, etc. Sound of Metal, though, really takes you on an emotional journey, and I still am incredibly impressed with it. It'll be interesting to see what it wins. I hope it does definitely win some technical awards, because, as I mentioned to about this in the past, but Sound of Metal uses a lot of really interesting sound design techniques. So in many parts of the film, it's about a man who's got hearing loss, or who gets, who progresses through hearing loss. And it's really fascinating. I mean, it really, I think it's a film that would provide a lot of sympathy or empathy. Anyway, and a terrific performance by Riz Ahmed in the leading role. But so anyway, that rounds it up. So again, as a summary, if I, for my Oscar pick, I think, on my quote unquote ballot, I'm going to pick Nomadland for Best Picture, but if Minari wins too, I'd be thrilled as well. So good luck with your Oscar picks. I hope you'll enjoy the Oscars on April 25th, and again, we'll look forward to hearing how you chose to celebrate and enjoy the evening. I'm a little delayed in this, but the movie of the week this week is a great action movie from the 90s. It's Speed, starring Keanu Reeves, Sandra Bullock, and Dennis Hopper. As you may recall, it's centered around this bus, this public bus. A bomb gets put on it, and the bomb's going to go off if the bus goes below 50 miles an hour. So Sandra Bullock is driving the bus. Keanu Reeves plays a cop that's on the case, and it is just one great action piece after another. It's directed by Jan de Bont, and this was his first debut, his directorial debut, and he went on to make some not so great movies, but this one is just a so much. It's so entertaining and so thrilling and so exciting. I haven't watched it for years, so I just thought it could be really a fun thing to recheck out again and provide some entertainment. So I hope you'll watch Speed. I'm planning to rent it. I don't own it, so I'll just rent it off of a streaming service, and I'm really excited to check it out again, and enjoy the wild ride. Well, that does it for this episode of the Movies Past and Present podcast. Again, links and more information about the movies discussed in today's podcast can be found in the notes on my blog at moviespastandpresent.com. Subscribe to the podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, and Stitcher. Links are also on the blog. And follow me on Twitter and Instagram. I'm at moviespap, as in past and present. As always, I hope you'll enjoy some good movies this week, whether they be from the past or the present. Thanks again for listening, and until next time, be safe out there and dedicate yourself to the truth.